Haven't done an update video on the collection in a while, so I thought I'd do one here today. So I'm going to start kind of over here, and I'm going to work my way around that way, and then we'll go to the other building over there and show you stuff over there. Of course, might have shown you this shelf back there. Added this section here a little while back, and I started putting one tractor up there. Then I have some miscellaneous metal on that pallet I didn't want outside, some attachments, and a whole bunch of engines over there. Have this 18 horse Onan that's going to go in that GT18 that's back there. I'll show you here in a minute. A lot of tractors have been coming back here from the other building as I'm restoring more. I want the cleaner tractors up there because it's cleaner, and the dirtier ones back here because it's just dusty back here. This is that SS16 I got about a month and a half, 2 months ago now, that I kind of messed up the paint on the hood. The Onan is actually the one sitting right there. That's going to go in that GT18. I was already saying this got the rear tote box on it, and that's just full of stuff for now. This runs and drives. That tire looks like it's holding air that I welded that rim back together. It had a little pinhole in it. Front tires still hold air. That one, back one does, so that's kind of neat. Nothing else really has changed. All of these tractors up to, well, about here actually run and drive. They're just back here for storage. And then we have some more engines up here. Have this Rautel 739, Predator 420, this 389 that's the same as that engine in that SS16 back over there. Predator, actually no, there's a 212 behind that. That's a Honda GX390. Then we have Predator 459 and then that 212. I really thought there was another Onan up here, but maybe it's either that one down there or I already used it in something, but I really thought there was an Onan up here. Oh well. Then we have that custom 10XL I recently got. And then, of course, the grill for that is sitting on top of it. Video will be coming up for these two customs. I'm probably going to do both of those in a video of their own because they basically match. One's a 69 and one's an early 70. There's an extra hood for one of them behind it. Because I got to take this bracket off, unfortunately. I think that's welded to the frame, so that's going to be fun. And then we have some tires there. That's going to go on one of them. I have a nose cone for this one. I kind of got, you know, all the parts sitting on these tractors so that I can just come back here with the forklift, grab it, and bring it out and just work on it, kind of a thing. Nose cone for these are missing, which I'll show you the solution to that here in a few minutes. Of course, you know, when I get to these tractors, I have to move all of this stuff out to get to them because it's getting kind of cramped in here. Pallet of miscellaneous stuff. This is a Tecumseh engine that the compression release went bad on it, so the starter doesn't have enough power to turn it over anymore. So that's just a parts engine, unfortunately. I think this ST16 or ST12, I can't remember which one this is. That's going to just get a hood and grill and everything fixed up on it. Probably a Predator 212. And that'll be back up and running again. That'll be a video probably sometime later this year. Custom 8E. I don't know if that's going to be a full restore or just get running and leave as is. Who knows if this engine's any good that's on it. And then we have this one here, that's going to be a definite restore. I don't know if I'm going to go back to original or what, but that 12 horse Tecumseh is going to go in this 76 because I want to make a 76 ST12. This ST16 here, I have a lower grill for it. I'll show you that here in a few minutes. That's going to just get cleaned up. Different engine, probably a Predator 212 or one of those engines up there or something. Of course, that's one I already just told you that it's going to get this 12 horse Tecumseh. That's going to be a full restore just because of how rough, you know, that all that rust back there is. Then we have that GT18 I was talking about with the Onan. This might get a partial restore, meaning I'm going to leave the black the way it is and then probably just redo this because this is like a silverish, grayish, not the right color, and it needs to be silver. So I'll probably get all that paint down to bare metal and then repaint that in original silver. Doesn't have an engine, which is where that Onan over there I showed you is going to come into play. This 66 Suburban 10 is in pretty rough shape. The rear end is locked up. The steering is kind of messed up. It has a Cub Cadet front axle. Tires are all shot. This is going to be a more of a major project. Wow, that camera got blurry when I zoomed out. Okay, maybe we'll just keep it like this. That's going to be a major project. That hood that's on it's actually for David Bradley, so I'll have to just switch that with one of those that I have, because it has this little dash insert on the back. It doesn't have the clips that'll clip on the dash, so I can switcheroo. I'll show you that here in a few minutes. But anyway, that's going to be a major project, another full restore. I don't know what I'll do for an engine yet. Maybe a Predator or something like that once again. I have so many of those, but it's, there's only so many vintage engines around, kind of a thing, and there's only so many you can actually get running is another thing. This yellow machine of mine, that's been doing good. It has the trailer mover on it because I've been using it to move these trailers in and out. Then we have my 76 SS16, which I took the Onan out of this a while back because it was knocking pretty bad and basically ready to blow. So I took it out, used it for parts to get that one running, which I got last December. And then this was just sitting back here. And then I got this Onan. I can't remember that was from those 4 tractors last December, and I finally put that in there here last week. That's 18 horse Onan. So this runs and drives again. I just need a seat for it, so it just doesn't have a seat. So that's all complete now. Even has a really, really nice carburetor on it that all original. I just kind of blew it out, and the original fuel pump actually works, which is probably the second time I've ever seen that without having to completely redo all that. So I put SS18 decals on it because it has 18 horse Onan, and it is still 76. So I figured the SS18 would be kind of neat to just stick on there because it has the right engine for it. This is actually a wooden nose cone, which are kind of neat. We've been making these. My dad and I, he mainly did it, but I kind of helped and said what to do, I guess. This one I just didn't put in all the mesh stuff, but it would still be compatible with it if I wanted to. The only thing is the way these lights are made on these is I can't put headlights in them. So I could put the mesh here, and then of course this lower grill is wood also. I could put mesh in there, and I just forgot and totally bolted on here and didn't think anything of it until it was already on there. But this is actually coated in like a wood clear coat, a thick layer of that just to kind of seal in the wood. And then I sanded it lightly and then just tossed on some rattle can paint and misted on some black just to make it a little uglier, but it still doesn't match the hood. Just randomly parked here. Kind of running out of space in here for now, so stuff is just getting kind of put wherever. And then diesel Sears, this is completely done other than a 3-point hitch. I'm not really happy with it. It's kind of ugly, but it's kind of neat at the same time. 24 horse Mitsubishi diesel. This thing would start right up. It does have a very slight coolant leak, as you can see down there, which just leaks out of the hose going into the engine. Not that big of a deal. Has brand new tires I got at an auction for $50. And when I say brand new, I mean they're literally brand new. So that was a pretty good deal. I got the tires with the rims and a third tire that didn't quite match, so I have an extra one for whatever, for $50. So that was a pretty good deal. I have my other SS18, which is not really an SS18. It's a 74 SS16, but it has 18 horse Briggs in it, so it has the 18 decals on the hood, kind of like I did with this one. And then we have my 76 SS16. This is a really nice one. I have a few more of these, I think, in the other building. I really like the decals on these 76s with the double stripe. I don't know, I've just always kind of liked those. And then we have my actual 76 SS18. Pretty happy with this one. Of course, I don't think I showed you a video on this one, getting it up and running, but this is one of the last 11 I bought. This would have literally drove in the trailer. I hooked a battery up to it and it fired right up. On the rear cylinder though. So I had to replace the ignition coil because the spark plug wire going to the front was actually corroded in the coil itself, so the coil was no good. And I had to replace the front spark plug, and that was about it. So that was pretty cool. This was an easy one to get up and running. The headlights work. Actually, I did do a video on this. I showed you guys that. I don't know why I can't remember that. See, I have so much going on, I don't know what's coming or going, these days. The seat I borrowed off of something else. But yeah, I showed you guys that one. I don't know why I'm showing you that again, because I already showed it to you. Headlights work and everything. And then over here we have my excavator, my mini wheel loader, which I took the V-twin out of, which is that one that is all the way over there. And I put in this 13 horse Honda clone engine, like 390cc. I put this in it instead and downgraded it. And I also put a smaller hydraulic pump on it so it doesn't actually need that V-twin power. It's more than plenty with this 13 horse engine in it, believe it or not. So I did that. This thing hasn't ran in, I don't even know. I had it running a couple weeks ago just to keep the gas fresh so the carburetor doesn't gum up. Because, well, most of these tractors, I actually use ethanol-free gas in all the Sears. But something like, you know, this equipment here, the forklift, you know, stuff like that that should get ran all the time, I use just standard gas because it's cheaper. But this I had running last week but didn't drive it. Same thing with the excavator. I should just put ethanol free in these next time they run out. Got my wheel horse. That is also just in the middle of the floor. I don't know why that's not like, you know, back here. Why it's, I don't know. But this needs to find a different home because I'm not a wheel horse person. This is the only one I have. But I don't want to just sell it to anybody because this has like $300 paint job on it. Or something like that. I can't remember anymore. But it starts right up. I mean, if I hooked the battery up to this, it would fire up instantly, and it hasn't ran in a few months. But it has back tire issues. As you can see, they go flat. Otherwise, you know, if you put a battery in there, air it up the back tires, it would start up, run great. I do have a mower deck for it. Really nice machine. I just don't have a purpose for something like this because it doesn't match everything else. Then this stuff is still for sale. I went like, I don't even know, a month and a half without selling a single one. And then last week, 3 days in a row, somebody came and bought one, and then I literally haven't had anybody interested in one since. So I'm hoping this stuff here can get out of here soon so I can get my money back finally on all this stuff because it's kind of expensive just sitting here. And then I can put that small single axle trailer there over here, scoot the other larger trailer here and that dump trailer over, and then I can actually continue that double row of tractors all the way back and still be able to get them out. And then it won't be nearly as cramped in here. And that's kind of the plan anyway. So now I'm gonna show you some other stuff. Stuff outside is my John Deere 318, which this needs to get out of here. I just, you know, it's kind of the same situation as that wheel horse. I don't want to just sell it to anybody because I want it to go to a good home. But I guess it's stored outside for some reason. I just kind of left it here, and here it is. I have like 2 sets of hoods, 2 sets of fenders. These are some custom wheel adapters I made for it because I had big tires on the back of this and changed my mind and put factory stuff back on it. That tire goes flat. That one don't. Front tires are totally shot. Then we have this red articulated thing, which, well, it's exactly what I said it was. It's just a red articulated thing. It has this little dump box I put on the back of it. It's kind of dumb, so I actually drove it to this spot, I don't even know, 3 months ago now, and just parked it here. And I don't know, it's kind of a shame because this has a decent Vanguard V-twin in it that, if I remember right, smoked a little bit, but it is what it is. Blue shed here was my paint area for restoring tractors, but well, it's not anymore. So this is where I park one of the golf carts that we have, and then also this is where all my attachments are. So really easy to get these out. All you got to do is move this cart out, and then I can just get to my attachments. I have this tractor here, 74 ST16 Sears, which I painted like a roper, which is just to pull that wagon, and that's it. That's all I have this for, and it works great for that. So I have all my plows up here. A couple of homemade attachments there. You got the homemade grader blade and the homemade drag. I do have a rear grader blade. It's in the other building I was just in. On I think the 76 SS18, I believe. Miscellaneous hitch parts. Got my chipper shredder. Have this larger disc, that smaller disc, and then another one back there. Have my Roper built Sears push mower. That hasn't ran in about a year, and it started with one pull once again. I don't know how that thing can start like that, and I don't even run ethanol-free gas in that thing. I have no idea how it can sit a year and just start with one pull. That's a mystery to me. I don't know. It's always been that way. Then I have that little sweeper thing that I tried to get running, but the carburetor on it is basically disintegrated inside. It's completely shot, and I couldn't find another one that fits that. but that's just got a 3 horsepower Briggs on it. But I can't find a carburetor that is identical to that one to replace it with yet. Then we have my cultivators, then various conditions. None of them are really that great, but here they are. Have quite a few mule drives for the front for Mordex and whatever. Starting to actually go on the floor with them because I don't have enough hangers for them and I never hung that one up yet. The mower decks are actually over there. And those should have other of these mule drives on them. Those need to be moved inside at some point because we're in our rainy season now. And those are going to just get in really bad shape outside. So I need to bring them in at some point here soon. Got a bucket for that yellow machine. I have front dozer blade parts. Auger for that yellow machine. Roller. Springy thingy. That's what I call it, to dethatch. I used that the other day at one of our other houses we have. Just to get the lawn coming back in. And then we have kind of like this grabber thing that kind of does one of these for the flange loader. I actually cut some teeth in there so it actually can get a bite. That's good for pulling up like up to 4 or 5 inch diameter trees, fence posts, that type of thing. Now moving on to the other building. This is where most of the stuff is at. So a couple days ago, actually it was yesterday, I pressure washed every single tractor. I took all the covers off of these. That's what main reason why I decided to do a video is because I had covers off all the tractors. You guys can actually see them. And I lightly pressure washed, from 5 feet away, just kind of the dust off the hoods and stuff. Just to, clean everything up. Because, in here, I try to keep all the doors shut, but stuff just gets dusty, Like this hood was like brown before I pressure washed it, and now it's back to white. It was kind of ugly. So kind of what I was mentioning before is all my clean restored tractors are going to be up here because it's cleaner, and then all the dirty ones, there's some original paint ones here that they don't have to be in a clean building, can go back there, that type of thing. So stuff I wanted the complete collection up here and then my overflow back there, but it's just not going to work that way anymore, unfortunately. So we got my 275 SS16s here. Those are recent from last December of those 4 that I bought. They both have, I believe, either a Predator 420 or a Honda 390, something in that range for an engine, just because the own ends were no good. And then we have all my, yellow ones, like 16.6, 18.6, yellow hydro, that type of machines back here. That one I blew one of the decals off the hood, so I got to tape that back on or something. I got this nice SS12. This is a Suburban 12 I got running recently. This is from that last Indiana trip. This actually runs really, really, really good. It needed, I forget, carburetor, gas tank, wiring just kind of taken apart and cleaned up. It runs pretty good. It's got the typical Tecumseh knock. It smokes a tad, but not too bad. Has the original Shusher muffler, which is nice. I kind of like those. Original steering wheel center cap, it cleaned up pretty good. That's a seat I already had. I tossed on there. Fan shroud or starter generator shroud I took off that other one that had the bad compression release. And that was one of these 2 Super 12s here. I restored, I believe, these 2 at the same time. They both had Tecumsehs. This one has a Predator now because that Tecumseh bad compression release, which kind of sucks. That engine ran fine once you could get it started, but you had to have the battery in the tractor plus a fully charged booster to get the thing to start. And speaking of booster, this is what I use as a booster now. Because those cheap boosters that you buy at a store kind of suck. They only last a year. And this is basically just a cheap car battery from a piece of equipment that one of those Chinese equipment. Actually, this is off that flange loader. And then a battery disconnect here that you can turn on. And that just turns on that light just to remind you it's on. With a set of cut up jumper cables. And that's a pressure washer stand. And that's my booster now. It works brilliant. You could start several tractors before you ever have to charge it. And actually, come to think of it, I don't think I've ever ran it dead. I just charge it every once in a while, and it's good enough, This is one that turned out really nice. This was actually that purple tractor I got from an auction. I'll insert a couple pictures of it here. And I cannot believe in how nice this thing turned out. This thing, from what I could tell anyway, because I haven't seen one of these, what they would have looked like new. But this is, brand new. that yellow paint turned out absolutely perfect in my thought. I mean, I have a couple other ones here. Like I repainted this one in that same yellow, but it just doesn't look nearly as good for some reason. But maybe it's that color match white hood, you know, that's a off-whitish color, because normally I paint stuff that bright white. But this is the first time doing a yellow one with this, you know, kind of an antique white-ish hood. And this is actually a wood nose cone. And you can barely tell my flash turned off because the camera's getting too hot. And of course, once again, I didn't put that mesh in the grill. So this one might actually get that though. But yeah, you can kind of tell, you know, here that it's made out of wood. And just kind of, you know, wood filled back together. This has like a, this one actually has a fiberglass resin on top of it, sanded smooth. And then this is single stage white, because I didn't want it too shiny. So it's a single stage automotive white, and that's actually a base coat, clear coat with a primer, yellow on the frame, which I didn't do a primer before, which maybe that's why, you know, this one looks so much better than like that one. Maybe that's what does it. I don't know. But I kind of like the way the black looks with it. I was running low on yellow, so I decided to paint all the accents black. That's about it on that one. You know, I got all my, you know, blue ones trying to be together, you know, because they all kind of match. All in this area. And then that David Bradley hood I was talking about before is this one right here, because this one just has a piece of plastic with like some metal to make that dash thing. And if I swap this hood with that other one, then I'd have a hood for that tractor and a hood for this tractor, and it all would work out fine. And then, you know, more tractors along this way. Got a couple of customs. So the other kind of original looking customs might get stuck in here, otherwise they'll have to be in the back building. Loader tractor, that got a rewire back in January because the dash cluster finally went out on this. And it still works. So you turn the key on, and you know that the dash still lights up, hour meter works, the fuel gauge, the temp, all that stuff still works. But on how these things are set up are kind of dumb, where this dash cluster actually runs the engine. So if this goes bad, the engine will stop and leave you stranded at a job site. I'm saying that because that's exactly what happened. So I ripped all the wiring out. This does still work, the dash cluster with lights and stuff, but that's only hooked up to stuff it needs to be. So if I start it, the key switch is hooked right to the solenoid on the starter. So that problem is fixed. It was mainly the plug going in was kind of dumb, but it had other issues from that. So that's now fixed. Alternator was upgraded also. This has the nicer like Denso style alternator compared to the one that has a separate regulator on it. I did that at the same time because the other one quit working on me. So that was all upgraded. So that thing is completely fixed now. I felt bad, you know, because the tractor's all original and really nice shape for what it is, from its age, whatever. But I'm just like, you know what, it's not that reliable, so I had to do some rewiring on it, I guess. Brand new 1023. The hood's missing because, I kid you not, it broke. So, and I'll show you here in a little bit where it broke. I'll just say it was pretty much designed to fail. Because right here at the latch where it broke, and it's barely held on there by any plastic. I was just mowing and it just came up. I'm glad I wasn't trailering it somewhere, because if that thing would have flew up on the trailer, that hood would be gone. That's a $700 hood, and that's dumb to buy a hood when it's poorly designed, you know? And that's not even a year old at this point. And we got this one here. This is my 03 gas that I put the Rattle 739 in. And that thing, I mowed with the yard once with this thing just to see what it would be like mowing with an engine like this, and it's great. Ton of power. I mean, that's basically a large version of a Predator 670 is literally what it is. Then we got my other David Bradley tractors along the wall here. That one hasn't ran in quite a long time, but it does run. And of course, all these other ones are electric. That's why they don't have engines in them, because they get battery pack. I didn't wash these tractors in this area because there's a lot of electrical stuff over here, and I don't want to get any of these wet. Like I have a server rack there, and I don't want to get water, you know, on that. So I left all these be, and I'll just wash these as I bring them out to drive them. Recently we made this wooden cart thing. I don't know why, but we made it, I guess. Painted it this kind of ugly green color, and then I misted some black on it to kind of be camouflage. It's kind of neat, I guess. Has a 600 watt motor with a gear reduction on it. and then like 11-inch pulley or 11-inch sprocket to a 24-inch. This thing goes like 7 or 8 miles an hour. Golf cart steering column with a Craftsman like GT steering or something like that. I forget exactly, but some kind of silver boxy Craftsman karting tractor the steering came out of. And then this just plugs in, you know, with a plug you're not supposed to use for anything but a wall outlet, to a 24-volt lithium battery. And then that cheap little controller I got offline just runs the motor. And I can't believe that controller has enough power to run that motor. It's tiny. Then we have this little forward and reverse selector here, so it actually has reverse, gas pedal. Still don't have brakes yet, so it doesn't have brakes. That 1023 hood, it's here with some fiberglass stuff that isn't really working out, and that's all that holds the hood from breaking. It's just that little plastic right there, so I guess that's why it broke. I got this metal here because we're actually going to make a rear frame, and here's the steering and stuff that we're going to weld back in it. So we're going to remake a rear frame that somebody torched apart. So probably going to make a, I don't even know what it was, probably a SS16, ST16, something like that, that this dash would have came out. We'll just remake that tractor. Here's a bunch of nose cones. I painted the white already with some rattle can. And then a couple of lower grills. These actually have to be cut along here because it hits the engine otherwise. But yeah, these are all painted in just a rattle can white, just as simple for them tractors. And I'll have to tape it off and repaint, you know, the inside and everything. There's a look at all the woodwork. Kind of complicated, actually. So that's going to be it for this video. Kind of a longer video. You know, a lot of stuff coming soon, like I was showing you. You know, a lot of other projects. You know, a lot of stuff kind of going on. And that'll be it, and thanks for watching.